welcome to SVG-TV News on Thursday, December 13th, 2018. I'm Yvette Boynes with the details. The National AIDS Secretariat is reporting that more persons came forward to get tested during the World AIDS Day testing drive. The drive was carried out by staff at the Secretariat and the SVG Planned Parenthood Association. Overall, close to 400 persons reportedly got tested, with 3 persons testing positive for the virus by the Secretariat. The SVG Planned Parenthood Association focused on marginalized youth and prisoners during their testing drive, which was held throughout the month of November, and reported that no one was tested positive for HIV. However, Youth Program Coordinator of the association told SVG-TV News that young persons are still careless and reckless with their sexual life, which is a matter of concern.
In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, condom usage is not a big thing, and I'm going to use some statistics to show you. We have a birth rate in St. Vincent roughly about 21%, and we have adolescent birth rate, persons under the age of 18, at about 15%. So about 15% of our adolescents who should be in school are actually becoming pregnant, and that's just females alone, which means that they are having sex without the use of condom, which shows that if the average adolescent has about 4 partners a year, based on our statistics, it shows that a great number of our population is having unprotected sex. And if we are having unprotected sex, it means that when we catch one person that is positive, there's a likelihood that there's 6 persons who have already been infected.
Charles, who has counseled hundreds of youths, said that most young men wear a mask and have some dark secrets which are not healthy for themselves and their partners.
I find that a lot of our youth, though they're sexually active, hide behind a facade of religious cloud, in that they tend to believe that, though I'm not supposed to be doing this, I enjoy doing it, so hence I'll continue to do it in secret. And with such a practice, it opens up to the whole idea of sexual experimentation. But the fact is, because they have no one to talk to, they experiment the wrong way, open up to a lot of risk. So we find that most of our youths, they are mixing sex and alcohol, which is bad, always been bad, even for us as adults. Sex and alcohol cloud the judgment, and when the judgment is clouded, we do all sorts of things and wake up the next day and we wonder, what have I done? Who is this person next to me? Had I used a condom? Can I remember his name? Can I remember how she looks? Can I remember everything that we've done? Not only alcohol, we find that they're experimenting with a lot of drugs. And the whole idea of globalization opens up a lot of different rings that we're finding. Homosexuality, we're finding the whole idea of group sex, we're finding the whole idea of multiplicity of partners of different age range and so forth.
Charles said the persons who are more careful are those who are tested positive for HIV/AIDS. He said that men usually have a negative attitude towards family planning, which they are trying to change.
He took the notion to men who tend to have this mentality that they have no part in family planning, they have no part in contraception. And the reason why we took it, because most women would come in and most women would be at a point where they think that it is the man's job to wear a condom. They think that it is his job to pull out. And they don't see as part of themselves that I have a part to play in what is done, especially with the use of my body. And so we took that and we show men that each person has a part. If you make your wife, your girlfriend, your sex partner, or even the person you're paying comfortable, then a lot can happen.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines has concluded a memorandum of understanding with Health Education England for the recruitment of Vincentian nurses to the National Health Services of the United Kingdom. A news release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade said the Memorandum of Understanding allows for cooperation between SVG and National Health England for the development of healthcare delivery through the recruitment of nurses. The Memorandum of Understanding was signed by SVG's High Commissioner in London, His Excellency Senior Lewis, and Head of the Global Learners Programme at Health Education England, Michelle Thompson. To facilitate the first phase of the recruitment process, Health Education England has requested that unemployed nurses who are holders of a degree or an associate degree and wish to work in the United Kingdom submit a CV. Interested persons are asked to submit their CVs to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Commerce by December 31st, 2018. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said officials from Health Education England will be visiting SVG in early 2019 to meet with applicants who were contacted and issue letters of invitation. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves is again appealing to members of the private sector to make use of the opportunities being presented them so that they can assist in building SVG. The Prime Minister reiterated the appeal as he delivered the feature address at a luncheon today hosted by the Chamber of Industry and Commerce at the Beachcombers Hotel. Dr. Gonsalves said despite some challenges, the government has done much work to fulfill the dream of a modern, competitive, post-colonial economy for SVG. The Prime Minister said the government recognizes the important role the private sector plays and has opened up numerous opportunities for its members to benefit from. He said the fisheries sector is one area they can get into and highlighted one company that has been making strides with this so far.
Rainforest is to buy annually at least $20 million worth of marine products, fish, lobster, conch, and fish, which would be more than what we currently produce. Just one enterprise, and it's $3.5 million investment. So, and the airport is going to help because already we have seen not through some which have come from I've gone from the Bacchus operation. The big Amerijet now they go straight to Miami. They don't have to go down to Trinidad. And once they go to Miami, the facilities at the airport in Miami just transship them.
Highlighting medicine as another possible sector they can take advantage of, Prime Minister Gonsalves said the government will be examining the way to lower corporate tax.
There's no reason why a consortium of you can't own a medical school and provide facilities, including medical facilities, for people here who would want, and in the region. The other countries have private medical facilities. We have some too, but we need to improve them. So there are lots of areas where you can do the work. And in the case of we trying to see if we can make the tax situation a little better. You know, we have brought down, remove corporate tax from 40% to 30% for the private sector. For tourism, we carry to 29%. I'd like to see us move further down, try to reach a number around 25%.
Gonsalves told the business leaders at today's luncheon that policies such as the Zero Hunger Trust and the programs which deliver quality meals to school children are critical and have received good report from international organizations such as Dubai Cares. He further encouraged members of the private sector to aid in the development of the nation's youth by assisting the education sector.
Result of that, in the 15 schools which are poorest, or in the areas which are poorest, in accordance with the data which we have from the census and other poverty assessment data which we have done, every child who goes to those schools gets lunch free. And in other places, they pay 40 cents, 50 cents, and in tongue $1. And the numbers in each school, the food is of such a good quality, and we improve the kitchens and so on and so forth. You all should really take a look at it, and maybe some of you all may be able to adopt a school and help out with some of the, if they need an extra fridge or stove or something like that. It would be very helpful. glass and cups and so on and so forth, whatever.
Meanwhile, newly elected president of the SVG Chamber of Industry and Commerce, Phillippa Greaves, gave the assurance that the organization will make its mark in areas such as education and technology. Greaves said while profit is necessary for a business's survival, the business must also consider its social responsibilities.
That notwithstanding, the private sector must shoulder its responsibilities and be committed to addressing the developmental agenda of our country. I am not saying that we should seek to do the work of government, but by the nature of what we do, we should address poverty alleviation, unemployment, and overall economic growth. All business practices must be honest and ethical, and we must help protect and preserve the physical environment of our nation that we all share. The business of health and wellness must also not escape us. There are many other key sectors and areas we aim as a chamber to be very involved with, such as export and trade, infrastructural development, energy, education and skills development, investment climate, adoption of technology.
Customers of mobile provider Flow should be experiencing an improved service through the company's LTE network, which went live on Monday. This was announced by Flow Country Manager Wayne Hull at today's luncheon hosted by the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Hull said the LTE network was first available in the Kingston area and has expanded to the Villa area. He took the opportunity to explain what the LTE network is and the difference between what was available prior.
What we call the fourth generation mobile technology. It offers you 10 times more speed than what you would get with 3G or even 4G on its own. And as you know, the mobile technology would have come, you would have had like GSM, which we could call as 1G. Then you have things like Edge, which is really a 2G service. And then, the operators here in St. Vincent would have been offering both a 3G and a 4G service. But we are now 4G LTE, which really is long-term evolution. And that is the fastest mobile speed that's available now at the commercial level.
Hull also shared what speed customers can expect from the LTE network.
Average day, with the network being fully populated with users, it would give you roughly about 40 megabits per second download, and that is an exceptional amount of speed. I think the average household in St. Vincent now have, we just increased it from 12 to 15 recently, but roughly about 12 megs the average household would have, 12 megs per second. Yeah. So on your mobile phone, if you could imagine that having 40 megabits per second download, that means that if a picture was taking you say 10 seconds to download, it will now take you less than a second or millisecond, if you want to put it in that terms. All right, so for us, we are doing SIM change out for free. You can come to the retail store and have your SIM changed out absolutely free. But for our business customers, we are looking to do some appointments and come on premises.
The SVG Tourism Authority is reporting a positive outlook for tourism this month with a number of scheduled activities. This week, two of the largest cruise ships, the Azura and the Britannia, docked at Port Kingstown with more than 7,000 passengers on board. This evening, SVG welcomes yachties from the transatlantic race termed ARC SVG, and this Saturday marks the inaugural flight of American Airlines service to the Argyle International Airport. Chief Executive Officer of SVG Tourism Authority Glenn Beach said these activities are a boost for the tourism sector.
Busy day for us because we also have the ARC SVG, which is in at this time now, and so we have a function right after that, the prize giving ceremony for that transatlantic race. So as you can see, it makes a big difference when you can have direct flights, and they're very happy about the international flights also, because it's not only a matter of the yachties coming in for the race, their families follow them. So if they come afterwards and they fill up the hotels, it's a spin-on effect. So it's a huge difference, and obviously, especially from the tourism investment point of view, the problem has always been access. What's the sense of constructing something if you don't have access? And not only for the hoteliers, for the yachties also. They want to come and get on their boat as quickly as possible to go sailing throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Beach said the cruise ship season has kicked off well, with 2 cruise ships docked at Port Kingston almost every week. This, he said, is in addition to the cruise ships that also dock in Port Elizabeth Bequia. He said the feedback they have received thus far is encouraging.
Cruise ship season so far, I hope it maintains where it's going. Cruise lines are always going to be looking for new destinations. Our biggest downfall in terms of the cruise industry is that we're so far south. But, we'll get over that eventually. And some people say Barbados is far south also. And yes, they are, but they've been in the tourism industry a lot longer. People know more about Barbados than they know about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But I'm happy to say that people are learning more about us and hearing a lot more about us. So it's going well.
Sandy Bay Primary School has again emerged winners in the school's music festival. The school was awarded the Festus Tony Award for Excellence. Some 20 schools from 8 zones across the country participated in this year's festival. Other winners in the various zones were awarded trophies. Awards were also handed out in categories such as Best Dance, which went to the Turma Government School, Best Speech, Paget Farm, Best Instrument, Lodge Village, Best Test Piece, Sandy Bay Primary School, and Best Vocal and Ensemble, the Stubbs Government School. Education officer responsible for music, Dexter Bacchus, said the festival is part of the Ministry of Education's way of promoting culture in SVG.
Over the years, we have seen the festival grown from just a few schools to almost all the schools within the island. This year, the festival has been even bigger and better than previous years. And the excitement that we saw in the zones mean that today we will have exciting, entertaining festival. Now let me just speak to the judging criteria. Now every school here present at the finals would come to the finals with marks already gained from their test piece. Although today we have only 4 schools battling for the best test piece, every school comes with the test piece score that they got in the preliminaries.
The festival was held throughout the month of November and culminated on Tuesday. Here are some snippets of the performances by some of the outstanding schools in the festival.
Oh yeah, we got to celebrate.